everyone, welcome to ET Garage. Today's video is going to be about diagnosing the airbag system on a 90 Corvette. Same procedure I go through will apply to other year C4 Corvettes, 90 through 96. I'm not exactly how true that is since I don't have access to those other years, but one thing you're going to want to do is check the factory service manual, okay, for that year Corvette. First year for the airbag in a Corvette was 1990. It only came on the driver's side, and it had issues. There's a bulletin, one of those GM bulletins on how to fix it, and that's the grounds on the impact sensors that bolt to the frames. On this one, that's taken care of. I took care of that a long time ago. I still ended up having problems, but that's another story. And right now I have a code that is not related to those sensors. It's something else. I know what it is. I'll show you guys, but I'll show you how to find it. Let's put it that way. But before we get into that, I still have other videos planned. Still plan on doing KC4 oil cooler. When the weather gets warmer, I still plan on testing out AMSOIL octane boost to see how well that works. And I'm still waiting on a relay for that headlight module. So that's some of the projects that are still planned for the future. But for now, we're going to concentrate on diagnosing the airbag. I'm not gonna go into specifics how to fix it and how to test each component. I'll get into that here in a little bit more. So just let me change the camera angle and I'll get into that. Okay, here we are at the work table, or my workbench, one of my workbenches. And things you don't need is a code reader or a Tech 1 like this, or any type of special code reader. If you do use one, make sure it's capable of reading the S.I.R codes, or supplemental inflatable restraint, or airbag, whichever you want to call it. And you don't need this supplemental inflatable restraint column load tool. Tools like that you don't really need. What you will need to read the codes, though, is a paper clip and a piece of wire, because you're going to want to stick that paper clip in the diagnostic ALDL connector, terminal K, and ground it. When you do that, you turn the ignition on, and it will flash the code on the dash. It will flash 3 times the code 12. In other words, it'll be 1 flash for 1, 2 flashes for 2, and that will equal, and that's how GM displays 12. Okay, in other words, it'll pause, flash 1, then flash 2, then pause, then flash 1, then flash 2, then pause, then flash 1, and then flash 2, and then pause, and then it will flash the code for whatever it is that's wrong with your system. And it could be any one of these, and it will vary from year to year. As far as I know, I'm not 100% sure. Like I said, I'm not familiar with the other year C4s, just my 90. And it will, tell you what to look for. But anyway, I'm going to get in the car, set up the camera again, and try and get you a good view of how to read those codes. And I'm not going to use the ground method. I could, that's easy. I'll probably just plug in the Tech 1. If you do have a Tech 1, you will need a proper module to do it. This one works. Like I said, just make sure you have the proper module for your system. This is for GM 88 to 91 body systems. And you need the adapter for the Tech 1. S.I.R dual UR adapter. Those are things you will need if you do use the Tech 1. This is just for reading the codes. It will read them, it'll clear them, and that's about it. So anyway, let me get in the car and we'll go in more into it. Okay, here we are in the car. I have the Tech 1 hooked up, and I'm going to go flash the codes here. When I turn the ignition on, you will see, let's see, you will see all these lights come on. The service engine light will stay on, and then you'll see the inflatable rest. 1, 2, and I'll do it again. Hopefully you can see that right above my finger. Inflatable rest. I did it again. And here it goes. 1, then it'll pause. 1, 2, then it'll pause, and now it's gonna. That's the third time, so it will flash the rest of the codes. It's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is code 35. It's gonna do it again. Watch. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Code 35. So I now know it's code 35. Go to my factory service manual, look up code 35, and you see inflator squib open circuit. Definition of inflator squib is the airbag. That's the inflatable squib. So it's either the airbag, the cable going to the airbag, or a problem with the DERM or the computer or module that controls the airbag system, the inflatable restraint system. That's located under the dash. To test that, you remove the airbag, and you would have to test the individual components. You would use that load tool that I have. You would hook it to in place of the airbag, and if you buy that load tool on eBay, I think that's the only place you're going to find them used. It's probably eBay or something like that, or the Furums or Craigslist. You're going to need the adapter wire to hook it to that wire, because that's load tools designed for a bunch of GM vehicles, so you need a specific wire for your year and make car to do that. If that doesn't, then you go ahead, hook that up, clear the codes. If the code's clear, you know it's the airbag. Yeah, if not, then you have to remove all these panels down here, hook up the load tool directly to the wires at the base of the column that run to the DERM, or the module computer underneath the dash, clear the codes, and if that clears it, then it know it's that wire with the clock spring in there, which usually what happens is that clock spring goes bad, or it wasn't clocked properly when I reinstalled it when I had the steering wheel apart, which is most likely what happened. And then at that time, you have to decide whether you want to shell out the money for a used component, because you can't get new components anymore for these. You're going to have to go on eBay, and especially for a 90, for some reason, they're a lot more expensive and harder to find than, say, 91 through 96. I don't know why. That's just the way it is. And it's going to cost you like $150 to $170 for that cable that runs up the steering column with the clock spring. So you got to determine at that point whether you want to spend that money to fix a 30-year-old airbag system, an inflatable restraint system that may not work even if they ain't flashing codes. If you decide not to, you can just pull that bulb and take the gauge cluster out and pull the bulb for the seat belt, because when the system isn't working, your seat belt light will always be on, and that light will always be on. In fact, let me turn this off and I'll show you. Now when you turn your ignition on, that comes on. I have the seatbelt light comes on. I don't know if you can see it from this point. And it will flash once and stay on. If the system's working fine, that inflatable restraint light will go out. It won't stay on, and your seatbelt light, as long as your seatbelt's on, will go out. Those two things don't happen, it means there's a problem with your S.I.R system, or inflatable restraint, your airbag, whichever you want to call it. There's a problem with it. I'm not going to go into further details of all the components and the problems. Like I said, it's a 30-year-old system, so you got to decide what to do. If you remove those bulbs, though, and you sell the car, you might want to pass that on to the next owner, that the airbag doesn't work. I don't know, it could be someone, I read somewhere you could end up getting sued if they get in an accident and all that stuff, but when they discover the airbag system was disconnected or not functioning and you did the bulb, I don't know. That's all, either, I ain't gonna go into that stuff. But I'm gonna end the video here. I hope this was helpful. I ain't gonna go into detail. I don't even know if I'm gonna go through trouble to fix this. Any expense. I probably will. I like the idea of having everything working the way it's supposed to. So, like I said, I'm gonna end the video here. I want everybody to have a great day, and God bless.